Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. The other week I decided to play a ton of PlayStation 3 because I bought a new Super Slim. The old Slim I had has unfortunately ran its course and I went to Play and Trade to pick up the replacement. The game I played the most that week was, by far, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Not just because I'm a huge Sly Cooper fan, but also I wanted to see how well the game held up. I've seen a lot of negative opinions towards Sly 4 and decided to see if this game is great as I remember it being, or is the internet actually right this time. So without further ado, this is my revisit of Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Full spoilers, by the way. The story for Sly Cooper Thieves in Time starts with some backstory on the previous games, a very simple TLDR. Sly faked amnesia to be with Carmelita but has been getting the itch to get back into the game. Luckily or unluckily, Bentley shows up with news of the Thievius Raccoonus' pages disappearing right before their eyes. Bentley's plan is to travel back in time to restore Cooper history. For a story involving time travel, it honestly worked. The Cooper gang need a piece of history from that time period in order to travel there, which keeps the Cooper gang from just going to whichever time period they feel like going to. Some of the ancestors the gang encounters are iconic, like Ryuichi Cooper and Tennessee Kid Cooper. The other ancestors, like Sir Gareth Cooper and Salim Al Cooper, are less iconic but are present within this game. Since our games actually added a new ancestor from the prehistoric era called Bob Cooper. First time playing the game and encountering the prehistoric chapter was really cool. This was the only chapter in the game that wasn't revealed prior to the game's release. I give credit to Sanzaro Games for spinning the story on its head with this detour and adding this new ancestor, but it really fell short. Not to say I hate Bob Cooper or anything like that, it just feels like this chapter was out of place in some regards. The only reason the gang end up in the prehistoric era is because they were in threat of crashing and Bentley had to think on his feet. So they just happen to be in this prehistoric era time period where there just happens to be another villain for the Cooper gang to take down. Something just doesn't add up here. Getting past chapter 3, we get into Sir Galet's chapter where, plot twist incoming, Penelope is the villain. It's revealed at first as the Black Knight, later to be Penelope inside of the suit. Like, they really took Penelope's entire character from Sly 3 and did a complete 180 on her just to get this shocking reveal. And a lot of the Sly community really hates this plot twist, and as you can tell, I agree with them. I love plot twists, that's why I love Sly 2, but this one really wasn't done all that well. Not a big fan of it, but I could see why some like it. Lastly, when it comes to the story, I'm going to talk about Le Paradox, the main bad guy behind everything. Somehow, Le Paradox is actually worse than Dr. M when I think about it. I have problems with Sly 3 as well, but Le Paradox, my God, he is underwhelming. He's like Arpeggio in Sly 2, but doesn't have an as interesting cast of characters around him. Like, literally my least favorite character in the entire Sly series. The only villains I really liked in this game were El Jefe and Toothpick. Those two felt like an actual threat to the Cooper gang, while the rest were just pawns in Le Paradox's game and nothing more. In conclusion, the story for Sly Cooper Thieves in Time is good, but with some issues. Using time travel as a plot device can be very tricky, but it gets the job done here. Villains this time around feel extremely weak compared to previous installments, and Chapter 3 is just an odd chapter as a whole. Gameplay-wise, Sanzaro Games tried their best in recreating the gameplay style of Sucker Punch's Sly Cooper. There's some differences here though. Sly in this game can attach the pole/spire points a lot further in this game. Bentley has to swap between ammo types if he wants to do the sleep dart combo into a bomb to kill them. Also, Bentley can only plant one bomb at a time. He can't spam multiple bombs, so you have to wait until you can buy an upgrade for it, which is a little weird. Murray's gameplay is a bit different this time around, since our games took away the uppercut move altogether and replaced it with this spinning move. They did this because there wasn't a need for the uppercut move anymore. In this game, you're allowed to pick up small guards with the stomp move without having to knock them down. I'm not a big fan of this change because I don't like the spinning move and liked how gameplay for Murray was done before. The spinning move feels really clunky and not all that good to use, and the gameplay for Murray and Sucker Punch's Sly Cooper was fine enough as is. Carmelita in this game is good enough, acting like a third-person shooter just like in Sly 3. She doesn't get any solo missions, so there's no real incentive to play her in the open world hubs. The ancestors, for the most part, function just like Sly, but with one move that Sly can't learn. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. Making the ancestors function wildly different from Sly would have been a problem for me, but I'm okay with how the ancestor turned out in terms of gameplay. The minigames range from good to really bad. On the good spectrum, you have the twin stick hacking minigames with the tank and Buff Bentley. I don't have any issues with these two hacking minigames. They function just how they're supposed to, and they're kind of fun in some regards. The other hacking minigame requires 6-axis controls, which for the year 2013 when the game came out, why are we still using this function of the PlayStation 3? There's not even a way to turn this function off, which makes the 6-axis control sections more stupid. Other bits of gameplay like the occasional RC car mission, those missions are fine. Overall, the gameplay is pretty good. Besides from the Murray gameplay and the 6-axis controls, since our games did a fine job with Sly for his gameplay, even adding a couple of new upgrades in the shop that weren't in previous games. It's not entirely perfect, but you should have a good time with Sly for his gameplay. Presentation / performance wise, this is where things get a little iffy. Graphically, the game looks great for a PlayStation 3 era title. The soundtrack is spot on for the Sly Cooper series if you ask me, and most of the voice talent were brought back for this game with some new ones as well. The iffy part is the performance of the game, how well it runs on the PlayStation 3. Sadly, the game does drop in frames when there's too much going on screen, especially in the prehistoric and Arabian chapter. The game can stutter as well, or freeze for a brief second. The game outright froze on me here, which actually hasn't happened to me before until I was recording. Also, the load times are obnoxiously long. Long load times are really unpleasant to sit through, especially when they happen so frequently. But yeah, the frame dips and the long load times make this game's performance really poor. Visually and sound-wise, it's great. Presentation and performance is definitely 50-50. So what's my final verdict on Sly Cooper Thieves in Time? Before replaying this game, I had it solidly as my number 2 favorite Sly Cooper game, with Sly 2 as number 1 and Sly 3 right below it. But now I feel like it's on par with Sly 3 or maybe below it. It's definitely not the solid Sly Cooper title I saw when it first came out. There are a lot of flaws in this game, from the cast of villains to the 6-axis controls to the poor performance on the PlayStation 3. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time is not a bad game by any means, just a couple of flaws from making it a great game. Before, my ranking for the Sly games was like this, now it is like this. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, you can subscribe. New videos are put up every single Saturday. Follow my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. Try my best to put updates on my future videos on there. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching this video once again, and I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.